Hey there, Saber friends. Welcome to Saber Talk, episode 7. I am here with Harris and his son, Devin. And I'm here with Gabe also. It is one of the last days of 2015. All of us saw the movie.
Amazing.
All of us saw episode 7. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about the lightsabers in episode 7. There was really only 2 of them.
Yeah.
Right? So there was the Graflex, and then there was Kylo Ren's saber.
Yep.
So, you know, I was kind of hoping that, like, maybe Luke would jump out with a green saber, or we'd see something else other than the trailers, but all we, you know, saw what were those 2 sabers.
Are we past the spoilers? Can we talk?
Yeah, I guess we should say that, you know, we're going to talk about the movie. There might be some
Spoilers.
plot giveaways and some spoilers and stuff like that, like, throughout the show, so I don't know. Even if you fast forward a few minutes, I don't know that we're not going to ruin it later for you or something like that.
If you haven't seen the movie yet, turn us off now. Watch us when you come home from seeing the movie.
Because this is Saber Talk. We're going to talk about the sabers in the movie, maybe some stuff that happened in the movie. I know, like, at least for me, it kind of rekindled my love for the blue saber.
Blue was nice.
So much action.
The blue was nice on
the
screen,
blue.
especially with that white background with the frozen planet background.
Yeah.
Very nice. The blue came out nice.
It was hot.
I thought actually, I mean, if you want to talk color real quick, because we're heavy into blades and blade colors and stuff here. I thought that the blue was a little deeper in the movie, in The Force Awakens.
It was a bit rich, wasn't it?
It was, what's that?
A little bit rich.
A little richer, a little bit deeper, bluer, maybe like what we're seeing in a, I think like a royal blue almost. But you know, if you go way back, originally in the New Hope, in A New Hope, the saber was more of like an aqua, like a
That's
cyan.
what I think too in the
Yeah.
in the versions that I see. I don't know if they corrected that in the Blu-ray.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know
There's
if
a bunch of
they
versions
made
out
it
there.
more like blue, like you're talking about, but it certainly seemed to get bluer in Empire, and now in this movie, like you said, it's
The deep blue.
yeah, like
The scene where Luke is actually with the training remote on the Falcon.
it definitely looks aqua or
It was
green.
almost like a white in some of the earlier
yeah,
footage.
and like the rotoscoping.
Yes, it was almost like a white
Yeah,
back then. Yeah.
I think like this blue looks like the movie, but I know on camera this is gonna pick up a little purpley.
Yeah.
But do you guys think that this looks kind of like the movie?
Phew, sneezing on the truth. I'm sorry. Yeah, I like that blue. That's beautiful. It looks very close in my eye. Here in person, it looks like the movie.
Yeah. So I was pretty stoked that like my hilt has like Graflex influence because, you know, obviously the movie is all about the Graflex, and then the Kylo Ren saber has the exhaust ports and stuff like that, which is like the Kylo Ren effect is pretty hard to get in person. I would assume like impossible, especially with the sparks flying off of that saber.
Have you seen what a lot of guys are doing? A lot of guys are getting the Black Series Kylo Ren, which is basically the Force FX, the Hasbro version of it. And they're taking the saber. I've seen a lot of guys gut it. And they will reinstall new electronics with an in-hilt LED, a couple on the side for the emissions on the side. And what they're doing is they're taking some blades, some hollow blades, and they're hot gluing all over the blade. They're adding like strips of hot glue.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen that. I've seen a bunch of
No,
those.
like that's actually a pretty interesting idea.
Yeah, and
to
when
get you would see like
when
the
you light it up, it
crackle
looks
of
like it's that unstable
Yeah,
blade.
exactly. It's unstable, like a lot of that staticky layers and stuff like. It looks pretty cool though.
Yeah,
when it's
that
lit
would
up,
look-
I
that would look
saw
sweet.
a
That's
couple
cool.
videos. It looks awesome.
Wow, that's an interesting idea, and also because it's not going to like kill your wallet to try it, right? Because like a couple
glue.
hot glue sticks.
I mean, they're like loading it all over. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like thicker, and it looks almost like flames, coming off.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. One thing I liked, I thought was pretty cool about the Ren saber was in the movie. If you notice on a couple scenes, there's actually embers coming off of it. Like if you ever
Yeah.
sat around a campfire,
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's like these weird sparks.
little sparks coming off of it. Like even without it even touching anything,
Yeah.
there were like embers floating off of it. In a
Like
couple
one of the
scenes.
books, like there's like a couple of books. There's like one called The Art of Star Wars, The Force Awakens, like which I got. Then there's like a technical book, but that I don't have that. But in one of the books, they talk about how the lightsaber is unstable, and it has like a cracked.
The cracked
Kyber
crystal, yeah,
and that it could blow at any time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty crazy that you mentioned the embers. Because it's like
showing
kind of a signal that
he hit it
could
right
blow.
on the nose. It's unstable, basically. It's just
crazy.
unstable. It's like a time
cool.
bomb, ticking time
Yeah.
bomb.
Cool.
It feels like it's only a matter of time before it goes off.
But they say that they say that the Jedi can empower the crystal. We've talked about that before. The Jedi empowers the crystal. So I'm thinking maybe some of Ren's force abilities, is what's holding the crystal together.
Oh, well, like another take on it, I guess, is like that this guy's kind of like unstable and crazy. So maybe if you're right about that, he's making the crystal unstable, or maybe
Could be.
I don't know if he cracked.
Could go
it
the other
or
end,
what.
the other way. Yeah.
Right, because like he's kind of crazy, like I don't want to be like light side. He's so conflicted that maybe the crystal's just just starting to crack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
very cool.
Like
Very
a
cool.
breaking heart, especially with all this
that's a
wacky
good
stuff
theory.
that he's doing.
That's a good
Hey,
theory.
and we're all about lightsabers, right? So I've seen the movie 3 times so far, and one of the things that bugged me was there was so much talk ahead of time of does Rey have a saber or doesn't she have a saber? That the first time I saw it, I spent the whole movie waiting for her staff to pop a saber out
That's
of
what
it.
I thought.
I spent more time watching her staff waiting
Yeah.
to see a saber come off.
I thought it would be a double or it just
Nothing.
comes out to, and she
Nothing,
didn't know.
just a metal staff.
But she did keep carrying it, so maybe
Carried it
next
everywhere.
time,
Maybe next movie.
Maybe, yeah, but there was nothing in
something
that staff.
Or like this is the theory I have about it. Like I don't know if you guys are familiar with the do you know that like CGI style trailer that they had for the Old Republic video game where it's like Satil Shan jumps and does flips and she's got the blue staff and she's stabbing people. She's on some kind of battlefield. I think she lands on Alderaan and she just kicks everyone's butt on the ground. And even the Sith Lord guy, she's like burying him under rocks and stuff like that. But the whole thing is like she becomes the Grand Master of the Jedi Order. So what I was hoping is that since that's not really canon exactly because they say that only these from a certain point on.
Disney
it's-
came in and said, nope, no more.
Yeah, but they do pull from the old things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping they see how cool that is. Maybe with that staff, like okay, she's clubbing people with it. So maybe like a logical progression of the lightsaber thing when that thing inevitably fails or gets chopped in half or falls down endless shaft again. Then she has to build her own. Maybe she builds a double-bladed blue one, which looks so cool.
Could be.
And maybe they'll model her character after Satil Shan, where she'll jump in, she'll kick everyone's butt, she'll be so good that eventually she'll be the Grand Master. I mean,
Could
that's
be.
kind of like my hope. Like maybe she'll be like the Luke.
Could be.
As
What
it goes,
do you
maybe
think of the
even better.
sibling theory?
Of this girl being with Kylo Ren, like the brother and sister?
Yeah.
I kind of don't think so anymore.
Because all the
But I don't know.
non-canon stuff always had Jaina and Jason.
Yeah,
And they were
I like that
twins?
so much, and like they did seem to take part of that. So they took the son who turned bad,
Right.
and they made the son turn bad, but they took the name from the Ben Skywalker character and
Yes.
gave it to Han Solo's son as
yeah.
Ben. So we don't, Ben Organa or Ben Solo. I guess it could be, but why? It's just weird that when he sees or when he gets the knowledge that like they're with a girl, he gets so mad. So maybe that's a clue to what you're saying. Like he knows about this girl,
Yeah, for a
but later on he doesn't
second, I thought
seem
it could
like.
be
See, she
Jaina.
doesn't know, so it's not like
She
he's able
definitely
to
has
pull.
no
She has no clue because
idea.
they dumped her off on the I forget
Yeah,
the name
but
of
if
the
they
planet,
are
the desert
related,
planet.
he's playing it
Jakku.
weird too because
Yeah,
he's.
Jakku.
I mean, he's not killing her at certain points, so maybe something's going on. But at the same time, they've but not giving us too much as far as clues.
She could also be Luke's daughter, is what they're saying.
She could have been Jaina for a split second, but then I thought Han would have known his own kids, you know?
Like, they acted weird, though.
They also say, remember the
scene? They kept cutting away when they brought her up. They're like, oh, what about that girl? And then they would cut away. It's like, okay.
Remember the scene when Han kind of says, you know, offering her a job on, you know,
maybe trying to keep her close.
Keep her close by, you know what I mean? Yeah. She is family, you know?
Yeah. Who knows? Now, I saw that the Disney, what is it, the 2.0 video games now? The 3.0, I don't know if you saw them. What's they have the new Star Wars.
The Battlefront?
No, Disney has another game now, Disney Star Wars 3.0 or 2.0.
Disney?
In the video game.
What game is it?
Disney Infinity?
Disney Infinity, yeah.
Well, in that Star Wars game, Kylo calls Rey his cousin in the video game.
Oh, really?
He says,
so I guess
when he goes to fight her, he says something cousin. He refers to her as cousin.
Oh, okay, so I guess that's like a leak.
So it could be like a leak. People are already, you know,
right,
going
spoilers
on that
for
theory
episode
and stuff
8.
like that.
Which we haven't even gotten yet.
Yeah, so who knows? Who knows? I mean, there was a lot of speculation of a lot of things in the movie until it came out, you know? So, you know, I'm sure it's going to happen. It's all going to repeat itself until episode 8 comes out. People are going to have a lot of theories and stuff like that. Yeah. Either way, it was amazing. I think that it went well with the current times, in the sense that there's a whole new generation of people out here that have no clue what Star Wars is or isn't into it. And so I think it was awesome in the sense that it's going to reach a whole new young generation. It was a movie that, you know, stood by itself. It still has some ties, obviously, to the older movies and stories, which is supposed to. And I love that they did that. For everyone else who follows the franchise all these years. But at the same time, I think it opened a whole new door for a whole new generation of young people to be introduced into the Star Wars universe and to lightsabers and everything like that. I think they did a great job. I also see why a lot of people were upset, where a lot of questions aren't answered. But when I stand back and look at it, I think that's a good thing, because number one, it's going to leave them the opening for the next movie.
Keeps you guessing.
It keeps you guessing. Exactly right. And so it's going to want you to stay there waiting for the next one. Just like we have for all these years since 1970.
Keeps you guessing.
You know what I'm trying to say? So it's the same thing. I think they did a great job with the movie. It was awesome. I don't think it was too much or too little. I think it was right on point, if you ask me, because it was action-packed. You got to see lightsaber duel. Granted, it wasn't a lot of lightsabers, but now you're going to be expecting some more.
Neither was A New Hope.
Yeah, same thing.
We had more.
Right.
New Hope. The first, the first number, episode 4, only had the one battle, and it was a short one between Obi-Wan and Vader.
Yeah, like a couple older gentlemen. So
I think a lot of people might have been upset with it because they were expecting certain chapters to be closed in this one. Some things that were still trailing from the other ones and stuff like that. But this is a whole new movie in itself.
Yeah.
I think
they also have 30-some years in between the stories to backpedal a little bit.
Yeah.
Where's Luke been? What's he been doing?
Yeah.
Has he been training multiple Jedi, or is he only training? Was he only training? Ben Solo. That kind of lost his way and then went to the Knights of the Ren.
Yeah. I think it was awesome. If you ask me, I saw it. You saw it 3 times. I saw it twice. I loved it. Yeah, I wanted to see more lightsaber duels. I'm not, because we're all about lightsabers. I saw when John Boyega first lit up that lightsaber, I almost passed out in the theater. I had my saber with me in the theater.
I was just going to ask, show of hands, who had their saber with them?
I did. I
did you take one?
No, well, I thought
you didn't take a saber with you.
I thought you couldn't have it, but then there was a sign there that actually, once I got there, that actually said, You can have it, just don't ignite it.
No, I didn't. I didn't even take the blade. I took the hilt. However, when the movie finished, that the lights came on in the theater,
turned it on.
I ignited it. People were freaking out, and I did it the second time. The second time, I took my daughter, did the same thing. As soon as the lights came on and the credits started going, but I didn't take the blade though, just the hilt.
Check this out. You ready? Dev, what'd you think of the movie?
I liked it.
Okay, the whole time that you were there, show everybody on camera what you did. How were you sitting with the movie, watching the movie?
Like, every time there was a duel going with the lightsaber, I got a little freaked out. I thought someone was gonna die. I don't like
Yeah,
when
me
people
too.
die. So then I'm just holding my lightsaber like this.
He was
I don't
holding
want to
it
die either.
like he was getting ready to be in the fight too.
I don't want to die either.
That's how I felt too. I mean, I was scared for those characters. You know, like those people looked too aggressive,
Yeah.
and that guy Finn looked a little bit like maybe he didn't have the Force, and
He was
I
nervous,
thought
man.
from the trailers that he was like
Yeah.
going to be a Jedi or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But like maybe he has like Force sensitivity, but maybe he's not super powerful. I hope that like it progresses for him. I mean, for the girl Rey, it was like really, and I wouldn't say easy for her, but it just like a lot came to her. You know, a lot of
There-
power came to her.
Something I noticed is there are a lot of subtle innuendos of each one of the new characters having little bits of traits of the older characters. That's something I picked up on. I forget his name, the pilot guy.
Poe.
Poe
Dameron,
Dameron,
yeah.
yeah. Like I kind of look at him like the new Han Solo a little bit. You know, Han Solo was the pilot. A little different where he's more of an X-Wing pilot where Han had the big Falcon. But, you know, and Rey kind of has that, you know, desert world look to her, you know, throwback to Luke when he was the moisture farmer. You know, each one has little subtleties brought out that kind of takes me back to those old.
Well, that's why I
characters.
was saying earlier. This movie, although it stood by itself, there's ties to all that stuff. There are things in this movie that to all of us seem familiar, but again, that's what they wanted to do because they wanted. You know, they knew that all the previous generations of Star Wars fans are going to be following this. They're going to be watching. And they want to.
Oh my God.
You want to be able to appreciate that, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm
But they
looking
wanna
at
draw
it
to the
like
new
you know
crowd, too.
that end scene. You know, Luke Skywalker, he never opened his mouth the whole movie. You know,
Yeah.
he was just in the end scene, and when he turns around, I mean, to me, it's like, oh my God, it's Obi-Wan. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
But even better.
yeah, a little better. Yeah,
Because like we know him more. Well,
We know him
actually,
better?
Not really, I guess, because we know Obi-Wan now because of the prequels. But
Right.
at the time, I'm trying to
Yeah,
imagine
we
when you
didn't really know
when you didn't
Obi-Wan
see
at the time.
Obi-Wan.
Think
Yeah.
about his past or anything.
But you know, I mean, that's just the throwback that Luke is now Obi-Wan, and a friend of mine actually throwback to Rob Templeton. Hi, Rob. I don't know if you're going to watch this or not, but Rob said to me, we were talking, and he said Ray of Light.
I heard that
which is
online
where they may
too,
have gotten her name from.
And I'm also not sure if that's her name because in the movie I think there was one line, I can't remember where this comes from, but I think there was one line like that says she calls herself Rey. So maybe that's not, and like in the art book that I have, the early concepts for Rey, her name was Kira.
Okay.
So maybe that plays into it. Like maybe her real name is Kira. Maybe it's just a name they were
Ray
using.
of Light,
at
Ray of
first.
Light Side.
Oh
Light
yeah,
side,
there you
dark
go.
side.
Yeah. So it's also weird because like you know is like are we seeing the trajectory of these characters through this movie, or is it going to change completely? Like could that dude Kylo Ren, who we saw so evil, is he going to be just the evil guy, or is he going to change? And this girl who we think, oh no, she's light side for sure. Is she going to be like light side the entire time?
Transpose. You
Yeah,
know?
because like the one weird point that I thought of, and this is just so weird, I think if you think about it, I mean you kind of already know, but it's just weird, you know, to think about it this way, that like when you're watching the original trilogy, which as you guys know, like this one's kind of supposed to be, you know, a callback to those and to have that same flavor of the original ones, and the first one in particular. But I think it has a lot of different elements. But the weird thing was about the original ones, like if you watch the episode 4 and just pretend that you've never seen any other ones, you know, and then you go to Empire Strikes Back, it's so different, you know, it's 2 or 3 years later.
Yeah.
It's like you couldn't have imagined those predicaments that they were in.
Sure.
And then, especially when you go from there, from what happens at the end of that movie, and you everyone's floored. You know, if you haven't heard that line before, you know, I am your father, and you're actually surprised. Then, by the third movie, Return of the Jedi, things have changed even more. You know, so you have like Luke is like, you know, he thinks he's a complete Jedi now. Another 2 or 3 years have gone by. Different things have happened. You know, things that we have no idea about. So I'm thinking, you know, it could be really weird when this like next movie comes out and God knows, are they going to pick it up right then and there when she's holding that lightsaber? Or are they going to take the route of the other movies, like basically all the other movies, and say, oh no, it's like 2 years and 5 months later. So it's like, screw what you thought you wanted to know. It's like, here's what you're getting, and it's totally other way. You know what I mean?
I think it's probably going to go like that, to be honest with you, because that's just it. You know, the movies span out. You know what I mean? And the movies are a timeline. You know, and then in between we have things like the Clone Wars, which they say are still canon. Rebels, you know, is still canon. You know what I mean? Yeah. So all that fills in those blanks. But here's what people don't realize, and I think that they're just not thinking about it, is that even way back when, you know, when we first watched A New Hope, you know, that movie, Luke was 17, you know, and then when we got Empire Strikes Back, Luke was now maybe 19, 20, 21. And then we got Return of the Jedi. Luke was now in his like mid-20s, 25, give or take. Yeah. So it was a slow progression. And even back then in the 70s and the 80s, we had to wait to see where that span went.
Yeah. So it's like, it's almost like you were waiting the 2 or 3 years, and 2 or 3 years expired for the characters. Sure. Which was weird.
Sure. And even now, I mean, even with the prequel films, you know, when we first saw Anakin, he was 10, 11, you know? In the second movie, I'm forgetting the name.
He's like 20 or
he
was
19
like,
or 18 he was like a late teens. And then in the third one, he was, you know, 20, 23, 25 when he turns to the dark side, you know?
Yeah, like, that's another cool thing about this new movie for me, was that it kind of made the prequel movies, like, even better. You know, like, whenever, like, a lot of people don't like the new Terminator, or a lot of these like movies when they get pretty deep, you know, 5, 6, like Rocky 7 and all this stuff. But I really like the Terminator series, and each one makes me appreciate the other ones.
Sure.
So this, you know, seeing it, and then like you see a line at the end, like when he yells, when Kylo Ren yells "traitor." And it really looked like Anakin to me, like his anger and just the hairdo and all the different stuff. Yeah. He looked like Anakin. There was like something else that he yelled that I thought looked like Anakin, or at least sounded like the whiny nature, or just a bratty nature. So you can see, like, you know, that is running in the family, and that this kid looked also like Han Solo. So, which is kind of, they picked the right people, right? You know, that they looked right, and they felt right in the movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, the throwback also to, you know, to Anakin, you know, turning his hatred towards Kenobi. You know, I mean, you saw that where Ren turned his hatred toward his father. And look, I mean, I guess we can say it. He did him in, you know what I mean? You know, I mean, that messed me up. You know what I mean? That, watching that scene, and, you know, being a father and watching that scene with my son, like, I remember he turned to me and he looked at me and he said, he just killed his father. And I said, yeah, he's a bad guy, man, you know?
Yeah, and like, that also makes me think, you know, they're solidifying him as the bad guy, maybe to see more of the light side coming through later, and then
how do you come back from that?
Yeah, like, we as an audience won't accept it, right? We won't take it because he killed one of our favorite characters.
How do you come back from that? You know, even if they try to make him to be later on, if they do take him and turn him to the light,
again,
I mean, always in the back of my head is that scene where he's shoving that saber.
That's why I said it's catering to a whole new generation. That's why I think it's like they're saying it's time to let go. Okay, you have your appreciation for that, but we got something all new coming.
That's a good point
for Star Wars, and we're catering to a whole new generation. You know what I'm trying to say? And if you're a true Star Wars fan, you're still gonna have that appreciation for it, and still, you know, follow.
Well, I mean,
I think that's what they were trying to do. I think that was.
I don't hate the movie.
That was a hidden message.
I hate the character for killing his
father. No, I understand that.
That was awesome how it made you, as an audience member, hate the character.
Yeah, yeah. No, obviously that's a whole.
I saw it coming.
That's
I saw it
coming.
You knew when he went out on that bridge.
Yeah.
You knew it was coming.
Definitely.
And as soon as he handed the saber,
how it happened was pretty cool.
I knew, you knew, but you just kept saying, no.
Walk away.
Somebody jump in. Or...
Yeah. Yeah. Or you think Chewie or someone might take a shot at him before anything happened.
Yeah, but I think like the reason why Chewie hit him in a non-lethal place was because, like, obviously Han doesn't want like revenge or doesn't want his son to be killed right then and
No,
there.
he went out there to try to, rescue
Well, even
him.
even after he got
He didn't.
plunged,
Even after he's
even
punched,
after he plunged him, he still reached up and held his face, and to say, "I love you, son."
So I think that I don't think Chewie like missed his heart. I think Chewie doesn't want to kill this guy because this is like someone he had spent time with in the past.
Well, that's what I was going to say. How about
Chewie's
known him since he was a baby, So
That's
Chewie
Uncle
might have been there,
That's Uncle Chewie.
Yeah, Uncle Chewie, right? So does Uncle Chewie want to kill this kid that he's known since birth?
I don't think so.
No.
So I think like he was furious, but he definitely doesn't want to disappoint, like let's say Leia at this point, or Han in his last seconds to know that his son's dead as well. So it's just that's probably how it went. I'm thinking.
And then just fall off the bridge.
That was really cool fall. That
was
a totally.
What do you
80s
think,
fall.
Devin? Do you think he should have killed Kylo Ren when Chewie shot him?
I don't think so, cause
No, sorry, I was yelling at the top. Sorry, Devin.
Because if Chewie killed him, that wouldn't make Chewie any better than Kylo Ren.
Right.
Good point.
Good
And
answer.
If Chewie killed Kylo Ren, that would just turn him to the dark side also.
Think so?
That's not.
Good point.
So that's not a good way to do it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
And
not even Rey killed him. Rey had the chance.
Let me ask you
Like
guys
the
a
Earth
question.
had to open up for that
to
whole thing to
split
be
them apart.
separating.
But let me ask you a question. I've seen both sides of the story. Number one, was his saber destroyed at the end of that battle?
I think it was.
Okay, number
That's
two,
my belief.
did he lose a hand?
No, I don't think
No.
so.
Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no.
I think if he lost a hand, don't you think they would have like drew it up for a second so the audience could see
I couldn't tell.
the stump?
I'll be honest
He
with you.
kinda
Sometimes
stayed in
if
the
you
snow.
look,
He stayed in the snow a little bit, and he was just like,
yeah.
he got
But
slashed
if
a
you
little
looked, there's like a black lump over away where his hand should be. Like his hand looked like it was detached,
bit. Oh.
laying in the snow. I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
I gotta watch it like 10 more times, I think.
I think something like a detail like that, they would have made sure you see on camera, like they done with the others. I don't think
People are
that's just
talking
something-
online. I don't think people, even like on the Facebook forums.
I could be wrong. I don't think it was.
They don't know.
I thought when I saw her slash upwards, it just got him on the face and he fell back. I didn't notice anything about the ham, and I would have to go see it again. But I didn't catch that detail.
I couldn't tell. I could not tell.
So like, let's like just ask each other, what is the Saber wishes for the next movie? Like, do you have any Saber wishes? Do you want to see, like you were saying, you want to see more fights? Do you want to see more Sabers? Do you want to see more Saber fights, different colors?
Definitely want to see more
new
Sabers.
colors introduced? Or?
I think it'd be awesome to see some more colors. I mean, if you really think about it, we all know, I mean, if you're a true Saber fan, you've done your research, and we all know that there are, Jedi Sentinels that carry, I think, yellow, and you know what I mean? I would definitely love to see more of that on film. So far, really, on film, all we've gotten was a lot of red, a lot of blue, one or two greens, a few greens, except for like the
Clone Wars has some.
the Clone Wars has some, and SpaceWindu is the only one you've seen with a purple,
right.
So it'd be nice to see some other colors, maybe an orange, some other type of blades, maybe. And I've seen a lot of discussions about, are there such things as gray Jedi or aren't there? Like the way I look at it, like I'm a big fan of Ahsoka Tano, and I think like a lot of people were saying, and I agree with them, that her new sabers in the Clone Wars are white because
you mean in the new Rebels episode.
Yes, I'm sorry, I said Clone Wars. In the Rebels, she's using white to show distance from her Jedi affiliation because she left the Jedi Order.
She doesn't want to use red because that would be bad.
Right.
She doesn't want to use one of the colors because that would mean she's a Jedi.
She's a Jedi, right? So she went with the
so
white
it's like no
to
color.
show that she has no affiliation to the Sith or the Jedi, but she absolutely still has her Jedi skills. I mean, that she'll have for life.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely would like to see some more colors. Some new saber styles, maybe even some of the kind of crazy looking stuff that we have here would be awesome. And like it seems like almost every kind of next film we get that next cool looking saber. Like in the Phantom Menace we got Darth Maul's double. And then this we got Kylo Ren with the
Cross guard.
the cross guard.
I guess, yeah, and we got the curved one in episode 2.
Yeah, with Dooku. Yeah, that's right. So you never know. Now I know, like also the in Rebels, the what do you call them? The Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm.
They're using those round ones that you can throw and they spin like a helicopter and stuff like that.
Right.
So maybe some more of that on screen. Me personally, I'm a traditionalist. I like, this is my personal saber. My personal saber is just a single throwback.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, if you were to look at my saber, there's a lot of clues, throwbacks to my heroes. I like the bunny ears because I always like the Graflex. I like the slanted emitter that takes from the Anakin. And even though, like the early Anakin had the S curve of the Graflex saber, I still kind of have that slanted curve. I also have that Graflex style emitter on the inside next to the bunny ears.
Yeah,
so,
and 30 years later, they're still using
the Graflex.
those sabers that
Graflex.
You were influenced by.
Yeah, that's another thing.
The same exact saber.
They did a lot of throwbacks in this movie, a lot of references for people that, like us can appreciate the Graflex.
Yeah.
And things like that.
That's pretty
I
cool.
really think
Very
that in the next,
recognizable.
in episode 8, there's going to be more saber fighting.
Oh,
I think now it's just obviously prepping you with a lot of plot and twists and storyline, a lot of talking, things like that. Because, again, it's been several years, and in the Star Wars world, it was like 30 years. So it's a whole new chapter, it's a whole new story. They want you to understand things first. Episode 8, I think she's going to learn how to use a saber.
I don't know, I kind of think that maybe they won't have anything with sabers. Like, maybe it is just, like, him over there learning bad guy stuff, her, like, way over there, and then, like, a whole action thing going on with the actual fighters and like the Star Wars going on in the middle, and maybe they flash back to those people, and then what if they they make your mouth water until episode 9 to actually
I don't
know what I mean. I hear what you're saying.
They already have her on episode 7
you
with a saber fighting Kylo Ren. So
I mean, the whole story, the whole movie that we just watched was where's Luke? Where's the saber? Here at the end, I mean, we don't even. There's no words. She's just like.
So I don't know.
Here it is.
Yeah. How are they going to torture?
Gotta have sabers. If you don't have sabers,
the two main identities in the Star Wars universe is the lightsaber and the blaster, and all you see is thousands of stormtroopers with blasters and 2 lightsabers in this episode 7. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping to see more.
You'll definitely see. That's like saying we're gonna watch a western movie without cowboys.
There's a Star Wars movie. In 2016, there's a Star Wars movie coming out called
the Rogue One.
Called Rogue One. That may not have a single light. I don't know what it's going to have.
That I could see, but when you're sticking with the main storyline, the main arc, gotta have sabers.
You have to. I mean, come on. Bottom line, the lightsaber was the one thing that completely revolutionized weaponry in sci-fi movies. To this day, it has had such an effect on this world. It's ridiculous. Everything revolves kind of around the lightsaber.
For us.
At least for us. When you think about the Star Wars stories, anything, I don't care if it's canon or non-canon.
That's true.
Comic book, video games, you want to see the lightsaber. You go to the movie theaters and all I saw was kids with lightsabers and or blasters. You know what I'm trying to say? So,
all right, I got one for you. You got all these sabers. How about that new... That one stormtrooper that spinning tonfa looking thing.
Cool.
I mean, I'd like that.
And it deflects sabers.
But I don't like the idea because I'm on the Jedi side, so I don't like that.
Yeah. You gotta admit it was cool, but no.
I don't want to see those again because those block sabers.
It was something new, it was something different. Never seen that before.
Like they block my favorite things, so they gotta go.
Just doesn't exist.
They gotta go.
You gotta leave.
Yeah.
So, Devin, do you have any episode 8 wishes, like things you want to see in episode 8?
I'm a big fan of battles and stuff, but I also like the plot because it's interesting to watch. Yeah. And you get more juiced up than for the battles. Because if you get the plot, you're like, where are the battles? And then you get them, and then you're the most excited.
Yeah. Then you can appreciate them more when it builds you up for that.
What do you like more, sabers or blasters?
Are you actually asking that?
This is called Saber Talk.
Not Blaster
Talk.
Not
Blaster Talk.
I'm going to go sip on you. No, but actually, the blaster thing is pretty interesting that you brought it up because there's a whole slew of new Plector Labs products coming out.
Oh yeah.
And the Blaster Core version 5 is one of the ones on the list. I didn't even see like what features that's going to have. Maybe that's going to incorporate the screen. Hopefully, like the Blaster Core 4 had the ability to do that because maybe some new features with the screen. I don't know. But there's just like a whole bunch of stuff. We can get to that in a second. Like, do you have any more Episode 8 Saber wishes or just wishes in general?
I don't want to keep going on theories and stuff like that. I'll just wait. We'll just wait because I think it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really exciting. I can't wait for it.
I'm kind of hoping that they bring in a green, like maybe Luke Saber or somebody with a like you said, a different color, just so we can get, you know, because they actually differentiated between the way the blades looked in this movie, where, you know, Kylo Ren's, like we talked about, was all fiery and broken, and the other saber was as we sort of remember it. So there might be different variations.
I got something I want to touch on. Have you guys heard that in making Episode 7, they used sabers like ours?
Yeah, great.
Because it gave off that glow on the character.
That in those scenes, and I always
very
thought,
cool.
I always thought you needed that.
I was wondering.
Very cool. They're using FX style sabers in their duels in making the movies. And how cool is that, knowing that they're using the same kind of stuff that we're now?
Did they go with the replicas, or did they go with saber forges?
I think they have their own.
I'm sure that's their own. Yeah, it's their own made stuff, and you know, a lot of the prop designers now are peers. You know, they're people that how many prop designers you know that hang out on the FX forums? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
some big time famous people are on there. You know. And I talk to people all the time that are, you know, actual Hollywood prop artists that are making props for things like, you know, Star Wars, Star Trek, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, instead of me being a little kid now looking up, now I'm building sabers that are equal to what they're using in the movies.
Yeah, and I mean it's totally necessary because the you just simply can't, like, no matter how much computer effects you're doing, it's really difficult. You have either a 24 frame or a 60 frame motion picture, and you can't apply lighting effects accurately to like a moving, turning face or a body. So to actually have these type of things that can cast the light on us.
If you're looking, you see a red glow on Anthony's face.
Yeah, so I can move around and talk, and that's still going to be there.
Cast the light properly with shadows. You know, lighting here, shadows. Like the way I'm looking at you, this whole side of your face is lit up. This side you don't have a shadow.
Yeah, and you can move the object left and right and
you pick up that glow.
You noticed that in Episode 7.
It's amazing.
When Kylo and her were fighting and the sabers got close to the face. Yeah. You see the light reflect.
That was really cool. It must have been a little added thing that they must have touched it up, or you know, maybe because of the practical props that they were using, it was there. But there was, I thought one of the coolest thing in the movie was, like, from audience perspective, you're like Rey waking up, and from sideways view you see the saber lock of the blue and the red saber, and it almost looks purpley because of the way you're looking at it. And then when it's actually her and Kylo in a saber lock, and they spend so much time there because time kind of slows down for a second when she's, you know, forcifying whatever, that you know, the reflection in their eyes of the two sabers was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it also, you know, just all the things happening right then was really cool. There was, like, you know, realistic snow gathering on their faces. There was breath, and there was
you need that. You need that today with the advent of the cameras that they're using, IMAX, high definition, all that stuff. You know, you got to have that. I mean, if you don't have that today, in my opinion, it takes away from the realism. And taking away from the realism pulls you out of the film. I mean, when we watch a film, we're there. Yeah. We're engrossed in it, you know?
It looks like the reflection on their faces were from actual either string blades or whatever they were using.
They are. That's what they are.
And they were just CGIing the blade itself for the
movie. They go in and they touch it up a little bit here and there, but most of the colors were actually coming from their sabers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool stuff.
You can see in the lighting and reflecting.
Yep. Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Very neat.
Yeah, there's like lots of new, you know, talk about Kylo Ren's saber, talk about the graphics that we saw and all that. There's like lots of new equipment coming out that are going to run our sabers and our blasters and stuff.
Yeah.
That, you know, the one thing in particular that's going to be able to make a Kylo Ren saber look like a Kylo Ren saber is going to be the CF8, right? So the CF8 is coming out, and Irv at Plector Labs says that the CF8 is going to have an extra set of LED pads, which is going to have a delay, or I guess
give you that staggered emission. That staggered,
so you're going to be able to.
The blade comes on, and then the side blades come off.
And then, you know, you'll be able to probably set a time frame where, you know, just like in your saber with the crystal focus, or in your saber with the crystal focus 7.5. You know, you can set every parameter to any number that you want. So I'm sure that that's going to be another parameter.
Irv is a genius.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
He is a genius, man.
Didn't you tell me it's also going to have an extra motion?
Yeah,
sensor?
so instead of
it's going to have some more motion sensors on it. So the motion is going to be like it's
even
already
better.
amazing, but it's going to be
amazing.
even better.
Because I don't know, you know, it's almost like saber time. I'm always joking is like really extended time, or it's just like a warp time, because everything just takes a really long time when you're trying to build a saber, when you're waiting for some kind of repair, or when you're sending something through the mail and it gets lost, and you know you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. It seems like always. That, you know, sometimes things happen really quickly, and it seems like the 7 just came out, and we've been out of stock on the 7, and people have been waiting for the 7.5 to come back in stock. I think maybe a couple packets dropped where people got maybe 100 dropped here and there, but they're sold out currently. I think. And now the CF8 is going to come out, so it's very advanced as far as how fast it's.
I see people post on Facebook, Nano Biscuits are up, and it's like,
and
boom, everybody runs, and they're out.
Oh.
They're out. That's how I just bought one for Devin's saber that I built him, and that's how, if I didn't know, I wouldn't have known. I was waiting, and I just hadn't had a chance to. I check every day, you know what I mean? I go back and check and see when I know I want something, if it's out of stock. The Nano Biscotti 2.0 that I bought for Devin's saber, it wouldn't be in that saber today if I didn't see that posting that said, dinner's done. You know, there's boards on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boards are up. You know, and then everybody runs to their computer, and a lot of guys, you know, a lot of your Smiths are buying them up like mad. They're buying 10 at a time. You know. So yeah, I bought one. I put it in Devin. This is, if you want to talk about Devin sabers real quick.
Sure.
We had this saber here that I got in trade. It was an Ultra Sabers, and the board wasn't very loud. And it had a purple. Devin really wanted a purple blade. So he liked the saber. I took it, I gutted it. And I bought the Nano. And I put the Nano Biscuit in it.
Now, which version is that?
The Nano Biscuit 2.0. The 3's not out yet. I think all the new stuff is supposed to drop, I think, late January, I'm hearing. So this is a Nano Biscuit 2.0. Dev, why don't you put a blade in it and show it off a little bit?
With an awesome sound font.
Yeah, Running Rogue, my favorite.
Oh, awesome.
My favorite also. Love the Rogue.
Does the Nano provide a force effect on that? On
No,
the font?
the Nano, you get swings. I believe it's 8 swings. I think it's 8 swings, 8 clashes, and
2 fonts on there.
2 fonts. 2 fonts. It's running Rogue and it's running Dark Meat right now.
And Devin, you can stand closer.
And it's a single button. Yeah, come over here, Dev, so you can see it on camera. Take a look at the camera. Go ahead, fire it up. And Devin wanted a purple, so in that saber right now,
good.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
And it looks like a perfect length.
Yep, it was. Yeah, we went a little short for him. I didn't make it a longer. That's about a 25 or 26 inch blade. I think
it looks a little longer than that. I mean, it looks like 27 or 28.
It may be 27. I forget exactly what it looks.
It looks great.
Yeah, I'm running double Corbin wrap inside the blade. When I first set it up, it was really a hotter pink actually, which was kind of cool. But he wanted more of a purple, so I resisted down the red. Thank you, Lord, for Mad Cal's training videos on TCSS. Because he goes in and explains heavily on how to resistor down the red to make a purple with a royal blue. That's running a Tri-Cree XPE2. The 3 colors are red, royal blue. The royal blue does make a nicer purple. And we have a white for flash on clash And I did not set up the flash on Clash yet. That'll be next. But so he's having a lot of fun with that saber.
That's great.
Yeah.
Should I show them with the photon blade?
Yeah, he likes to turn that off, pull the blade out real quick, and we've discussed in detail about the photon blade.
Photon!
Photon! So,
but we're always experimenting with the
yeah, we're always experimenting with the photon. So the photon looks kind of cool when you put it on the purple. It gives you like a watermelon color.
I can't wait to see what it looks like on the camera because in person it's got like a weird pink center.
Pink center, kind of reddish pink center.
And then the outside has the
neon green glow to it. It's like a multicolored
almost.
Looks
like to people, but oh yeah, I can kind of see like the flare looks pink, but otherwise it
walk
looks
it up to the camera,
green.
Devin. Show it a little closer on the camera.
Looks a bit green.
Hold it steady when you put it up there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool looking.
So yeah, he likes playing with the photon.
Like it's the Corbin wrap that makes it look like it has that pink,
that center core.
Center line.
Yeah, that's the Corbin wrap.
Oh, speaking of photon, the Custom Saber Shop has the photon tips.
I've seen that. And while you're on that topic too, you can turn that off. Turn that off because we're going to talk. Have you gotten any new tips from TCSS? The blade tips?
A couple recently rounded thin wall blade tips.
Yes. This one's not glued on yet. I purposely didn't glue it on yet to show it to you. Take a look at that tip and what do you notice is different about it?
I don't know.
The mirror is a smaller diameter. By the mirror being a smaller diameter, you have an edge.
Oh, you get a fuller light.
It's a lighted tip.
Yeah. See, the reason why I didn't recognize that is because I peel every mirror off.
Okay.
Because
so, let me touch base on that. That's right. Anthony builds string blades. You have no use for the mirror technically, where you want the light to come through the blade tip. What we're doing when we use a Tri-Cree, the light bounces.
Because it's almost like when you're building a standard in-hilt lightsaber with an LED in the hilt. It's actually an issue that you're running into where too much light would escape through the tip. So people put the mirror on, or actually TCSS includes the mirror on a lot of their tips. It's like an option or whatever. And like you said, this new one allows more, enough light to be reflected back.
Let me show it on camera.
To actually show a fuller blade. Yeah. But when I'm doing the string blade, I actually have a problem of not enough light passing through the tip, so I have to modify that.
Inside of the tip. They have mirrors on them. And the older style blade tips, the mirror, the edge would come to the direct edge here. And that would block the light from getting to the top of the tip. Now with this tip, light bounces off of the mirror, but it also allows light to go through. And in fact, I think I heard that Vader's Vault was selling some blades that they called with a shine-through tip. So I'm thinking that maybe
So maybe that's a collaboration.
This is that type of tip, yeah.
Okay.
So here, I'll show what that does basically. I'm running a Crystal Focus on here, Crystal Focus 7.5. So you can see on camera that tip is fully lighted.
That's great. Yeah, it looks a lot better.
Take a look.
It's
a nice light on the end of the tip. So that's something neat. And of course, it doesn't say that in the description of the blade tips. But I've ordered a few over the past few weeks.
That's how they've come.
That's how they've been coming. Very cool. And what I did to show that, if you go on to TCSS, you know how you can list reviews? I made mention of that. I added a review this week, and I made mention of that in the review of how the tips are coming through now. Very cool. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, that's
Good
job. We were talking about the new Plector Lab stuff. There's actually something that's going to be placed below the Nano, right? I couldn't find it. I'm on the website right here, but
Pico.
Is it called the Pico Crumble?
I think that's what it is.
So it's going to be like a bargain basement card, but have Plector Labs sounds. It's going to be relatively inexpensive, but actually have really good digital sound, better than like the ones you can rip out of the toys.
But go ahead. I'm going to stop.
Well, I was going to try to sort of segue into the budget sabers that you brought.
Okay.
And to have you talk about
okay.
how maybe you could use one of those Pico crumbles that are going to come out in a month,
The
or
main
you could
feature
rip out
of
a
those
board
boards
from another toy that maybe you
Yes.
have and actually put it in a Saber that doesn't cost too much money.
The main feature of the new boards, I don't know if you've read any of the descriptions on them, the new Pico Crumble board, you cannot change the sound font on it.
What is it? Is it going to come with light meat or dark meat?
I think it comes with one.
Mm-hmm.
You choose it, and it's like flashed onto the ROM or the memory on the board.
Okay.
You cannot change it. So like all of our boards that we're currently using, all our sounds are on little micro SD flash cards
Mm-hmm.
where we can take them out, put them in the computer and change. That's the main feature. You cannot change the sound font. The board is very easy to use, user friendly, and it's got one sound font. And I don't even think you can change any of the parameters on it, like your swings and your swishes.
I think you can, because if I could find, wasn't that new rice thing going to work with that, or am I just thinking it?
I've heard a couple different things, and there's so much new information coming out. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Yet.
So for now, from what we understand, there's a new rice that's either out or it's coming out. Is it going to work with the 7.5 or conjunction with the CF8? I'm not sure, but it's going to be able to go through your Bluetooth and through your phone. So Irv has a video on that, Plector Labs. Go to the YouTube page and check that out, because it's really cool. He has a setup on his phone where you can actually, you don't connect any wires at all. You're just setting up
plug the Saber in anymore.
Your flicker and your parameters and all your different stuff, actually through an app on the phone. Which
Very cool stuff.
It didn't look like it was going to be for Apple users
No,
right now.
you know what I heard? Because Apple charges you when you do an app through your Apple, where the other one, Android, does not.
Oh, okay.
So that's why he did it
For Android.
to start out for Android.
Oh, I see.
So he didn't. I think they charge you for each time you sell an app or each time you create an app. I don't know. There's a financial exchange.
Yeah.
With Apple.
Yeah, like I guess the benefit for this new rice is you won't have to have a rice port, which is going to say, if people think that anything on the outside is ugly, like a charge port or anything, then you have one less of those.
One less thing you have to put onto the
For
outside.
me, yeah, like I like things, gadgets, and I've always collected flashlights and little gadgets, and I like little greeblies and things that stick out of the Saber. I don't mind the old Graflex with the box on it and all that stuff.
I don't either. I like that stuff. Yeah.
Like I like that it's uncomfortable to hold and all that, because I feel like it's from this other world or whatever. So it's like it's not.
A lot of people complain about the Graflex style Sabers. They don't like the box. They don't like the bunny ears. The buttons stick out too far. I'm cool with all that. I like all that.
Yeah.
I like all that. But so there's the new Pico Crumble. There's going to be a Nano Biscuit 3.0 come out. I'm not 100% what all the features are on that. There's some more. I think there's extra sensors on it. It's supposed to have a better sound quality to it. And then there's also the Crystal Focus 8, as we touched on. I don't think they're doing anything just yet to the Petit Crouton. Mm-hmm. Currently, we have the Petit Crouton at 3.5. I think that's staying the same. And I've talked to Irv a few times on Facebook and stuff. Irv, you're the man. You're dynamite. Anytime I have a question, I shoot the question to you. You're very quick with a response. And when I say quick, I'm talking within the hour. He usually, most cases, like 10 minutes we're talking.
Yeah, we see him answering people.
He's always
very friendly.
Very friendly and very eager to help. I've even asked him questions about Saber things other than his boards, like PLI questions and stuff like that, which don't even affect his boards. And he's right up front with an answer. Great dude, great guy, and we wouldn't be sitting here and doing this stuff if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, and I love how complete the manuals are. Like I think I've talked about before. Like I always have the manual open if I'm like working on a Saber, and it shows you all the. It doesn't just tell you there's an option and then you have to go figure it out. The manual tells you can put a vibe motor. Here's how to do it. Do X, Y, Z. If you have this, use that, and so he really explains everything in the manual.
I don't know about you. When I built a lot of these Sabers, and I've been building Sabers now. It's probably about 3 or 4 years now. I've been building them, and most of them almost all of them I've used a Plector Labs board. Every time I build a Saber, my iPad is right there, and the manual's open on my iPad. It's right there, and I refer to it up and down, and it's invaluable. You can't build a Saber. Anybody thinks you can build a Saber without using a manual, probably the only person that can do it is the guys from Vader's Vault or Genesis Custom Sabers.
And it's like 95% of the questions that you might want to know, it's in the manual.
It's in there. You just got to read through it. A little patience. That's one of the things when we talk. There's a lot of kids that are involved in this hobby too, and the kids are great. I mean, we were all kids once too, and everybody started somewhere. I'm going to segue into this little segment now. But some of the kids, on Facebook and on the FX forums, they get a little amped up at times because first of all, these things, as we talked about, are very expensive. The pieces, the parts, to gather the parts, they're expensive. It's time consuming, it's costly, and unless you really kind of put your whole heart and soul into it, you can't do it. So recently, I saw on one of the.
I can't agree with you more, by the way.
Yeah, totally.
About like being all in.
It's all in,
because you realize that if you just a quarter in, you're gonna have a quarter finished.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, and I'll say this too: it's not for everybody. Building these are not for the faint of heart, and not everybody knows how to use a soldering gun. For us, we're good at it. Gabe, not great at it. That's where he's got me. But most guys, don't do that. They'll go out and they'll spend their hard-earned cash for a product that have somebody else build it for them, which is great. Now, this brings me to my little point that I'm going to bring up. Everybody starts somewhere, okay? And I don't care, even if my son's 11, okay? And he's just getting an interest into this hobby, but he's not building this stuff yet. I'm building it for him, okay? So recently I saw on Facebook, somebody posted. It was a younger kid. It turned out it was a 16-year-old kid that posted, "I want a Saber. Will somebody give me a Saber?" So some of the guys on this forums page or this Facebook page, man, they laid into this kid hard, okay? Calling him names. I chose to go the other route. I said, "Listen, dude, nobody's going to give you a Saber, but there's other ways to get Sabers." Now, I've been doing this for years. So when I got a Saber, it looks nice. This is a beautiful product. Anthony's stuff is beautiful. It's high-end stuff. But it always wasn't like this. Way back when, and yes, we all started somewhere, this was my first Saber. And if you can't guess what it is, I'll hold it up close. This was, and used to be, a Maglite that I bought for $10 from Home Depot. Originally, it was a Maglite. I added a PVC top to it, and I had a Saber. So
almost looks like Darth Vader.
Almost looks like a Vader-esque. The grips, I didn't know what T-Track was back then. I went to a Pep Boys auto shop, and these are moldings from the side that you put on a car.
It already had the tape.
It already had the tape on it, and I just cut them and put them on there. So everybody started somewhere. That led me to my next.
That one actually looks like I was telling you when I first saw it. It looks like an in-universe Star Wars.
Could be right out of Star Wars.
Yeah, some of the first props that are laying on the table. If you watch some of the videos on the making of Star Wars,
yep.
Could
be one of those.
Could have been one of those.
Could be one of those. I even added these little cell phone things. It had a belt clip so I could carry it.
And did you say how much that cost to make, or do you remember?
$15. The flashlight was about 10. I think I had the flashlight already, and I just hacked it up. I took the top off of it. I got it. And in fact, I'll tell you how far back this goes. This goes back probably, I'm going to say about 10 years. I didn't know what a blade plug was back then, but I have a blade plug in it, okay? And if you look inside, what do you see inside there?
Oh, you used to have an EL blade.
Bingo. Okay.
Because there's a audio plug.
Yes, there's a 1/4-inch audio plug inside that.
It's like the 2-channel audio plugs could run the EL.
And I had an EL blade. It's since been lost. I don't know what happened to it.
Where'd you get the EL blade?
I bought it off of
one of those internet
sites. One of the internet sellers way back when. I don't even remember who sold me the blade, but he sold me the blade already made, and it came with the 1/4-inch jack, and you just plugged it in.
That's
and
really
I actually. Cool. If you look here, The switch that I made is a plastic box from a little micro harmonica that I got at the pawn shop.
It
I
looks
put
legit.
some rubber feet on there from a planner. And this piece, there's even a switch in there if you hear it click.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
that's
there
cool.
is a
So
switch.
you had like a lever clamp switch.
You know what
like
that piece is
10
from?
years before I even knew that there
A
was
hole
it.
punch. That's what held the paper when you
Okay.
punched a hole punch in. I'll show it on camera. Okay.
So a lot of that is like found objects. That
All
you probably
found
had.
objects. Okay.
Um,
And literally, this whole thing cost me about $15 to make. And this was my first Saber. You know.
What kind of tools did you use to make it? I mean, can someone, like you were saying,
Dremels,
if they were 16,
most of it, you know what I did? At one of the places that I worked at, they had one of those shelf-mounted grinders. And I actually grinded that. I didn't even have a Dremel back then.
Oh, so this didn't even come...
Nope, that's a PVC coupler. That's a PVC 1-inch, 2-inch pipe coupler that I took and angled on a grinder. I used a grinding wheel just to grind it, and then hand sanded it and polished it up and painted it silver. It used to be white.
Okay.
Yeah. The little lights, the red and green lights on the side, the throwback there, they don't work. They're just little light covers that I bought from Radio Shack. They were $1.50 each. There's no
Really?
lights in them.
I
But
mean,
they look
there
cool.
easily could be.
Yeah, you could throw some lights in there. Today I could gut this thing and put some sound in it if I wanted to. But this is my throwback. This was my
this
first
is actually
Saber.
the first one you made, you said?
First one I ever built.
I mean, it's pretty awesome for the first
Yeah.
one. I mean,
10 years ago.
And
I
that,
think...
And that was your second?
Well, you know, so then I wanted something more Obi-Wan. And I think I've mentioned it a few times on our episodes here. There used to be a website called Lightsabers from the Big Yellow Box, which is like Lightsabers. Somebody posted a website, and there were 6 sabers on this site, and they were basically tutorials and parts lists to go to Home Depot and buy plumbing pipe and parts. And this is a basic plumbing part lightsaber. The only thing that did not come from Home Depot was the pommel piece.
Yeah, where'd you get that from?
The pommel piece was off an old antique cane that I had in my basement.
Really?
It was the handle part of the cane that I took it off the wood piece. And the little pommel cubes are...
'Cause that's what I want to know what that is.
You don't know what they... Take a look. I'll tell you. Take a look. I'll let you guess.
Because that's an incredible Obi-Wan for making it at Home Depot parts.
Show him that pommel, Gabe. Can you guess what those pommel cubes are made out of? You'll never guess, and I'll tell you why, because you don't have kids. Those little pommel cubes on there are hair beads.
I was just going to
Hair
say
beads.
beads.
From the dollar store.
I was going to say beads.
They're hair
have,
beads.
And you painted them gray?
And I painted them
I
silver,
knew I
and I
was gonna
glued
say
them suckers
beads.
right
Oh,
on
you
there.
glued them. How did you glue them?
Glued them, crazy glue.
They're very even and nice.
Yeah,
You know what? Not
let
to
me say,
mention-
if you dropped it, pieces would definitely fall off it. You know,
Not
it
to-
does not work.
Yeah.
It does not light up. It's gutted. And then what I
But
did,
you could add, if you
well, you
wanted
could add sound to it today. We could, but way back when,
It's like you said, you had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
we started somewhere.
And I'm going to add, of course, again, you have to start somewhere. But nowadays, even when I've done it, when I first started getting into sabers, there are now, you go on YouTube, there are plenty of videos on building
People
your own.
showing you how to do
I
it.
even saw a guy using a mag light.
Yeah.
And showing you,
Absolutely.
showing
Well,
you the finished product of a lightsaber with only a mag
TCSS
light.
has the section on the side, maglite parts. So you
Yeah.
can take the
Yeah,
maglite
that's right. That's right.
and unscrew the top and buy parts from TCSS and screw it on and make
That
a
are
lightsaber
adaptable
out of
to
that.
the mag light,
My
yeah.
point is that this kid that we saw, you know, he was freaking out and people were cursing at him and they were fighting online. Everybody starts somewhere, you know? So if my son said to me, I want that, I want to build my own lightsaber, the first place I would take him to is Home Depot. And I would say, let's walk the aisles at Home Depot. And all it takes is a little bit of imagination, you know? Say to yourself, you know what? I could see this red button, okay? That's a switch cover from a lamp, okay? It cost about 70 cents, I think. And I just painted it red, okay? And I glued it on there. The little pieces here are little washers. The black pieces on here was tubing that you'd use to cover speaker wires. I'll go you one better. You like this little black section right in here. Okay? You know what that was? That was a plastic shampoo bottle that I cut apart and bent it flat and just laid the pieces in there. So a little bit of imagination goes a long way. And anybody watching these shows, you can build a saber if you really want to. It just takes imagination and a little bit of know-how and people pointing you in the right direction.
Yeah, and I mean, a couple things I could add to that. That's just so awesome that you're saying that. It brings up a lot of inspiring thoughts, you know, that I had growing up, and you know, if anyone could get some advice from us, that's great advice. Another thing that I could say from experience is that, you know, don't get upset, don't get frustrated. You end up like breaking things. When I was a lot younger, you know, I had like a way worse temper. You know, I would break the remotes from the TV when I would get mad. You know, crack
I can't see you doing that. You're so mad.
I just get so mad that my mom would always have to buy the universal remote, and then whenever I got mad, I would snap that one in half. And you know, it just gets so frustrated whenever I was working on something and it didn't go my way. I would throw like a tantrum, you know. And as I grew up, and through breaking things and through slapping things down when you're mad, and kind of like letting you know, Anakin come out type of thing, you have to stop sometimes if maybe you're getting tired.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
take a break, take a step back.
Yeah, because I think the mind could play tricks, and you could say, I mean, I tell myself all the time, this is the XYZ is going to happen today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get through this. I'm going to drill this. I'm going to drill that. I'm going to put in this button, and then usually it doesn't quite get that far.
Mm-hmm.
So I can imagine if you were just first starting, you would allot a weekend, and you would say, you know, at the end of this weekend, I'm going to have the Saber finished. That might not be how it goes.
Take your time.
You know, and you can't get too frustrated, because I think the best outcome is going to come if you take your time, and when you do start to get tired or to become frustrated, you should stop, because when you come back 4 hours later, or you go to sleep and you wake up the next day, it's amazing that somehow the answer came. So yeah, it's like the Force, you know,
perspective.
It's going to guide you, especially with the project like this, to help make it. And the answer is going to come, or some kind of solution is going to come, or the right person to ask is going to come to your house.
The proof is in the pudding, and as they say, out of the mouths of babes. Okay, Dev, do I have a temper?
Yeah.
Dev, when I'm building sabers, how many times do you hear me cussing and banging my fist on the table?
You like break things.
So you're
I still do it.
Like
I
what
still
I
do it. I still do it.
Yeah, like I've gotten so much better at it, where I don't need, like, sometimes especially with the string blades or any of these projects, you know how long it takes, like we were just kind of touching on. That, I mean, imagine, you know, you are sanding down a part for your Saber, part that matches, along with your multi-shroud pieces, matches other shrouds, and, you know, something gets dropped or a scratch happens. I mean, it's so easy to get frustrated, but I think the idea is to, like, fully kind of concentrate on what you're doing. One of the tips I can kind of give is that you know, it's going to be hard when we do a lot of the Saber Talk Insider shows, because we've done one where we're out in the garage and we're working. Obviously, things slow down when you're talking, or when people are talking to you, right? So when I'm working alone, a lot of times I'll have a podcast on or something, which is okay, because I feel like I can listen to something like a movie, because I don't have to talk back, so I don't have to listen to what they're saying, because they're not expecting an answer.
You're in your zone.
Yeah, whereas like if I had a friend over and they were talking, your progress is going to slow down. So if you have a busy house and you have people running left and right, or your older sister is bothering you, or something's happening, your progress is going to slow down a little bit. So what you can try is to work on the really thoughtful parts when you're alone. So if you're like wiring the board, and the board costs you $70, or the board costs you $150, or whatever, and you know, you don't want to ruin it. So if there's chaos happening, or if you're in a bad mood, or if you're tired, I usually try to allot of time. Like, I don't even want to work on the Saber, although I have the desire while I'm at work. Sometimes if I get home late, I don't even want to work on the Sabers, because I really want multiple hours in front of me. I don't want to be like well, I only have 45 minutes, and then I have to go eat or something like that.
Give yourself that time.
Yeah. So just a couple more things that I think are good for the beginners, and as you.
I work on my sabers on my kitchen table.
Mm-hmm.
And Dev, how many times do I complain and Mom, leave me alone? Mommy asked me do something. Somebody called. I don't care.
It's almost like life can't stop for the Saber.
So she says, "Oh, one of your patients called. I don't care. I'm working on a lightsaber."
Don't bother me.
Leave
me alone. I can't get this board to fire up.
Yeah, so it just takes time, right? And you keep at it, and your board is repaired. It's in your Saber, right? It's working great. The PLI is working great. So you went from these Maglite Saber to the Sync Tube Saber to a bunch in between, and eventually ended up with
this is my latest piece. You guys seen it before?
A little piece on it probably cost more than a couple of these to make because it's a special brass.
Let me throw this out here. Tim from the Custom Saber Shop. I sent him a note, and he will do custom pieces. I like the bunny ears. I wanted a bunny ear on it. I didn't want a standard bunny ear. I didn't want an aluminum. I wanted something to match my brass CoverTech knob. So I wanted a brass bunny ears. And I sent Tim a note. And Tim said, sure, no problem. We can do that. It's going to took him, I want to say about 4.5, 5 weeks to do it and get it back to me. And it was not cheap. That one part was over $50, I think, and that didn't include shipping.
Wow.
just for a bunny ear.
A custom machine part. I mean, that's actually a good price for a custom machine part.
I think so. My wife wouldn't think so.
No.
But I think so.
I hear when they make a Saber that has multiple custom parts,
and it looks amazing.
The Saber ends up costing a real lot of money.
Looks amazing. Just the brass here, the brass here.
Yeah.
I hadn't opened up that copper shroud yet to do the PLI in there.
Do you keep polishing that, or is the copper not?
I
turning?
keep polishing. I polish it constantly. Your copper's turning.
Yeah.
I want mine to turn, but I'll tell you what happens. Each time I do some work on it,
you want to polish
I get a little scratch here, a little chip here. So I sand it, I polish it. You know what I mean? And every time it starts to take on that little age patina, I'm like, I got to do something else, and then I repolish it again. So we're almost there. We're almost done with this, and then at that point, I'm going to leave it alone, and I'm going to let the patina happen to the copper.
I really love the way that PLI looks.
Yeah, the PLI looks nice.
That close. I don't know if it's going to show up.
Let me see.
But there's actually a new grade in which I
thought
was
this kind of cool. The PLI on camera. You got the red, green, and the red, yellow, green PLI. When it's off, it's actually hidden behind a piece of like a speaker grill is what I used. And even, like custom-made piece here, the speaker grill came from a $5 cheap throwaway speaker that I got from a Five Below store. And so I'm always, no matter where I'm at, I'm looking at parts and saying, what can I add to the Saber? What can I put on the Saber? What can I do? The PLI came out great. I'm really happy with the Saber so far. It's looking great. And every time I wear it all day long. And I get compliments on it everywhere I go. Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about, you have a CoverTech wheel on there like we just said. Are you wearing this new CoverTech holder? We
can talk about that now. So, I'm going to say about a month ago, just before December, one of the guys on one of the Lightsaber Facebook pages posted, his name is Victor Antonios. He's got, and actually I can't think of his website, but you can look him up on Facebook or on the Facebook pages. He's got a little laser cutting shop where he does stands. He does a couple nice acrylic stands. Well, Victor made one for himself, posted it, and a lot of people were, I love it, I want one. So Victor started selling these. These are called Saber locks. I'll show this up close. Okay. So that is a Saber lock. Now mine's been modified a little bit as opposed to our CoverTech clip. Okay. The Saber lock, it's made out of Kydex. It's very, very durable. I want to rate it very highly, and I do love it. It works great. My biggest issue with the Saber lock, and you guys will get a kick out of this, is I'm old and fat. Okay? So your Saber lock here, it will fit any standard CoverTech button. Drops right in. And it actually has a little kind of countersink to it. It's very durable. Daniel Lane from Saber Forge, awesome Saber dude, was on video doing backflips and hanging from monkey bars. And the Saber did not fall off his belt. It stayed perfectly on.
I really like that belt clip.
The Saber will never fall off of here. It's beautiful. Now, I've modified mine a little bit to where one of the things that bothers me is when I wear it, my little bit of a chubbiness here hangs over my belt. So when I have my CoverTech clip, it actually sits kind of flush.
Yeah.
As opposed to when I put the Saber lock on my belt, it kind of, as I sit down, it kind of digs into my fat belly.
Yeah.
So that bothers me a little bit. But that's not Victor's fault. That's an awesome
now,
piece.
One of the things, too, I want to point out, as when you were talking about Daniel doing backflips and all that stuff, we're not only talking about when the Saber sitting in the pocket lock. We're talking about this has a clip that can
slides right off
that
the
can
belt.
come off your belt, whereas your belt has to go through.
The belt is slipping through. Okay, both sides.
So that's going to stay in place. I mean,
it stays. It's not going anywhere. And there are actually 4 screws and bolts that hold it together. That leads me into my next thing. My personal Saber is very ornate. I have a lot of shrouds, so everything kind of sticks out on my Saber. So when I use the Saber lock, my Saber was kind of rubbing a little bit on the screws. And after I wore it for an hour or two, I was noticing I'd get some scratches on the inside of my Saber
from those
from the nuts and the bolts that hold it together. Again, I don't think that is actually Victor's fault. I think that is just my personal Saber is ornate, and there's different levels to the shroud. So when it hangs, it does hit. You know, you want to try it on one of yours and see how it sits. See what you think of it. I like it. If I was going to rate the product, I would probably, out of 10, I'd give it 9.5 Sabers up. Good deal. Thank you, Victor.
How does it go in there? Like it
just
just
slides in up
stuff?
top. Yeah, slides in and then drops into that little lock, that little countersink.
Here.
Can you get it? Slides in. Boom.
Oh, okay.
It's got a kind of a little right angle to it. Oops.
I'll cut your leg off.
Kind of a right angle hook to it if you look.
Yeah.
So when you hit it here, you want it to drop down there. Now, I'm sure every little CoverTech wheel is a little different. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of broken in already and been kind of ground out over the time. So
this is a way better solution than the daintier clips, because I've always wanted something. Now I'm going to order one of these. Yeah, maybe you can send me the link or whatever.
I think he sells them for I think 15 or 20 bucks.
Or you know what? If you send the link for this to me, I'll put it in the description of this, so people could get it.
Good job, Victor. I know he was selling them like hotcakes. What I did also, just so you guys could see,
I saw you put some glue.
I did
on there.
little hot glue over the bottom 2 screws, just so it doesn't hit the Saber and scratch my Saber up. That's all.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I found some of the specs on the Pico Crumble.
Cool.
It has a couple cool things I just wanted to mention. That the 2 fonts, like you were talking about, that are available are from Lord Blako on the FX Saber forums, which I have some of his fonts are really good.
Nice stuff.
So I don't know which ones are exactly going to be available. I don't think they're sure yet. But there's going to be, power on, power off, hum, soft swing, soft clash, hard clash, differentiation between those. Like you said, there's no SD card. It's going to have flash on clash, has 6 color profiles.
Oh, I didn't know it had the color profiles.
Yeah, which is really neat, because it actually explains here. If you go to FX Sabers, this might be displayed elsewhere, like on Facebook, but if you go to FX Sabers and you look under Plector Labs, you will see all the new products that are coming out. This is actually, at the time of this recording, this is on page 2 of the Plector Labs main page. So it just talks all about the Pico Crumble, which is actually going to be able to run off
3.7.
It's actually going to be able to run off 2.6.
Oh, really?
It's saying
even smaller battery.
Like, I guess, or I'm not sure actually if I'm reading that right. But maybe it's a 3.7 volt battery. It's only going to be about $50. It looks like, and it's super small, so it's not out yet. We're recording this December 30th, 2015, and this is probably going to be out like a month from now.
When Anthony says super small, I think it's about the same size as the Nano Biscotti. I call it the biscuit. I have the Nano Biscotti in my son's Saber, and I don't know if you've ever seen one up close, but I don't care how much you look at it online, it's never like looking at it in person. And I almost passed out the first time I saw a Nano. Every time, and even now, when I installed a bunch of them, and even when I got his in the mail, I keep looking at it. It's literally the size of a postage stamp. It is literally about the size of a standard postage stamp.
So those, V2 MHS parts start making sense, or these really tiny sabers like the Sidious Saber,
small,
that
small.
little Sidious Saber.
Small
You can start doing stuff like that, or even start if you wanted to make. I mean, like a saber like the size of Gabe's Saber, you could actually make like a double-ended saber because you could have battery packs in here. Those tiny little cards like sandwich them together and have two emitters. So a lot more things are possible with these new Plector products.
I believe, and you could say I'm wrong. I don't know. I know there are a lot of products out there. I myself have never messed with any of the Spark, the NEC boards. I know they're great. It's a great product. I haven't. I'm a fan of Plector Labs. We all use. I don't think there's anything smaller than the Nano Biscotti. I really don't. It's small, and for what it costs and what it does and ease of use, in my opinion, it's one of the best soundboards on the market.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need anything smaller, honestly. I mean, as tiny as that is.
If it went any smaller, it would disappear. I mean, we're talking Ant-Man here,
Yeah.
I mean, small.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to be cram Fu Master anymore to get that stuff in the Saber. Kind of only if you want. I mean, you even in your son's Saber, you could put a CF7 in here at some point.
I could easily fit a Crystal Focus in there if I wanted to. Yeah.
So it's everything's gotten very sort of easy to use, and like you said, as long as you can kind of get yourself familiar with the soldering and stuff, maybe start on other things and then eventually get to a Plector board.
I don't know if you had any experience with this. My first board that I bought from TCSS was a Petit Crouton, and it was off of the section under TCSS that says modular wiring system.
Okay.
So my first board, it was already set up. Yeah, I mean, that was my first experience with Plector Labs.
Yeah.
The board had plugs for your two switches. It had plugs for your LED lights, for the switch lights. It had plugs for your battery. And you could even buy a 2.1 switchcraft with two leads coming off of it. So you plugged one into the board, one into the battery. It was just an amazingly
and they had, like,
easy
JST
setup.
Connectors.
All JST connectors, small. Even the LED I bought was a small JST connector pre-wired. Okay. So by me getting it that
so you're just
way,
kind of getting used to.
I got used to it, and that was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and now I mean I don't buy anything pre-built anymore. I build it all myself, and follow the manual. But it was 1, 2, 3. Literally, it was plug and play. Boom,
that's
boom, it was up and running.
That's a good option when they have kind of right now. There's kind of a dry spell with the boards and stuff like that.
Well, you have the movie out. And people are hitting it like mad. Everybody wants a Saber now.
Yeah.
And TCSS is like, he's maxed out. I mean,
when
they're squeezing him like a sponge.
Of boards, they'll probably take some and do the modular systems, and those will probably. I would imagine if you looked right now, they're probably not there.
I think he's out. TCSS is out. He's dry. He's bone dry. You don't have much left. It's slim pickings over at TCSS.
Yeah.
No offense, Tim. We love you.
Yeah, we love Tim at TCSS. We want products from there, and therefore the products are out of stock because we keep ordering them. So
Absolutely.
it's pretty cool. Like we said before, if you go to that site, the Custom Saber shop, you'll be able to see on the right side panel what the new products are. That's how I found out about the bullet tip or the rounded tip, which he has both of the Photon, because I was just there yesterday looking for blade products and saw the Photon tip was available. So that was kind of cool to be able to get that with pretty good speed. I mean, the Photon blade's only been out a couple months, and so now we have the tips. It's probably once things die down, there'll be more colors and things like that, more boards available. Hopefully.
Well, you said you had some things you wanted to show us on the string blades.
Yeah, we talked before about the sort of multiple colored blades that I showed you guys. There was like a combination where there was teal and white, if you remember, and then there was a white and blue, and you guys could see the separation there.
Right.
Whereas like on a string blade with just a single color, like this is blue, so you could probably see some variation in the blade of where there's maybe inconsistency or whatever, but you certainly don't see like white and blue. It's just blue.
Solid color.
Yeah. So what I try to do is sort of take that idea of the multiple color to the next level, hopefully, or just to do an experiment. When I brought out those blades and showed you guys a couple episodes ago, we talked about what we could do to the string blade. You had the idea, or Gabe had the idea of like staggering LEDs of different colors. Maybe that would work. I think we had the idea of staggering the actual strings. We had the idea of making more than 2 strings. So that's what I did with this next one. And I'm going to just change the sound font on the Saber before I show you guys. Okay, so we basically talked about a lot of different soundboards tonight, and sometimes we talk about the Crystal Focus LS. The LS is for the light strings. That's the type that I make, and they've been out of stock for kind of a while. So hopefully the next time that they come back in stock, maybe there'll be a later version. The only thing that's been out so far is the Crystal Focus LS 6.5. So that's what I have in here. I actually have a 6 because I have a prototype board in here. And what you do is you set, like all the other settings that we talked about on the SD, or through the Rice, which I have a Rice port on my Saber. So I plug in the Rice and I can actually change each sound font, whereas I have 6. Like on Harris's Saber, he has 12 sound fonts because the Crystal Focus 7. So you have 7 firmware. I don't have I don't have the 7 firmware yet, but I have the 6 firmware, which holds 6 fonts. I have 6. Each individual font you can have different power levels. So for the next blade I'm going to show you, I had to change the power level on the font to kind of get
adjusted the power level on the individual font.
Yeah, to kind of get the effect, or to be able to show you guys like as true as possible here. So my favorite color for lightsaber blade for years has been the idea of getting a Viridian blade. So when I showed you guys the color combination, I kind of held off on doing green and white because I wanted to do green and white when I got a little better at it, or when I could think of something that could be better. So I had the teal and white, which looks cool. I have the ice, like the teal and white I call platinum, and the white and blue I call ice. That's my favorite out of the color combination ones. This is another combination one where I have a string of 5mm white. I have a string of 5mm green. So I wanted to just bring up this from the garage, which is just a string blade that I'm working on, so that everyone can see kind of where what's inside of here. Which is this is a 5mm a string of 5mm LEDs. So
how many
like
LEDs are there?
106 here. 108. Sorry, 108 is this strip. These are actually yellow. So this is wired in serial L class 4. The blade I ignited for you guys a couple minutes ago is serial L class 2 blue. So the string I just held up is like basically what's in the blue, plus it had a white flash on class string, which is very tiny LEDs.
Much smaller. What are they, 3s? 3mm?
Yeah, I have inside, I don't know if they'll be able to see this. Maybe Gabe, you want to show that up to the camera. And that is a 3mm LED. Okay.
Yeah, are they 5s?
Yeah, I want to actually have Gabe hold all those.
Here, Gabe.
Up.
These are 5s. Hold them up next to each other.
So that first one was a
3.
And
these
5. And these are 8s, Harry.
And these are 8s,
and that's
right?
a 3. That's a 12 that you're holding. This
that's
is
a 12. Okay.
So a lot of people asked. You know, this is kind of spur of the moment.
You can see the size difference.
Talk about the string blades.
5, 8, and 12.
12. And there's even other sizes too. There's a 10. I haven't played around with the 10. But a lot of people keep asking, you know, will I talk about the string blades? Can we learn more about them? Maybe compare them to the LED stuff. So, you know, we could talk all about that, but it's just, I always get a little afraid because it's so much.
Very detailed.
You know, it can get kind of boring, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe a little at a time or something. But I can show you parts of what's going on here. So we have the 5mm strip here. Gabe just showed you the 4 different types of LEDs that I use. So yeah, the 3, the 5, the 8, the 12. What's inside of the blue blade I was playing with earlier in the episode is a string of 5mm blue and then a string of white next to it. So you see that white flash that you saw. Mm-hmm. So what I did with this blade I'm about to power on is do a strip like you see here of the 5mm and then sandwich that to that's in the middle of the sandwich, and what's on the outside of the sandwich is 2 strips of white 3mm. So everyone wants the white core lightsaber with the color on the outside, like you see in a movie. Yeah. So, you know, I've been trying to do that, you know, for years. So basically, that's how it looks on camera a lot of the time, right? When we show their sabers on camera, it just looks so burning, like a burning white core and this color aura. Mm-hmm. And that's how we see it in the movies, that everyone just wants that. So I thought maybe instead of doing a white center and a color outside, I would try, in this experiment, the color green inside, white on the outside. Maybe we'll reverse it. I don't know why I thought this, but, you know, could that provide the effect of this white core with this color? So that's what we have here. So like you had asked with this blade here, it has 108 LEDs, and I think that's exactly what this has, 108 green LEDs, and then 2 strips of 150 each of white. So it's like 150, 150 plus 108. So we're talking like over 400 LEDs in this blade. Actually, when I take it out, I'll let you guys feel the difference.
It's got over 400 LEDs in that blade.
Yeah, so it's still pretty lightweight, but it's not as light as the blue. So the color that I'm trying to get here is Viridian. So it's supposed to be white and green mixed for this like minty green or this very subtle green. Yeah. But this has no flash on clash. So where the blue, if I tap the auxiliary button, you would see that flash. This has the reactions of the string blade, but there's no separate, you know, there's not a 4th string. There's 3 total strings all on right now, you know. So anyway, what do you guys think of this color?
Pretty cool.
It's like slightly.
I see a lot of white. I see
slightly muddy, or
I see it. Yeah, I see. Now every once in a while, I do see a little hint of green coming through. It almost looks like I see a lot of white, but I definitely see some green hinge in there too. So yeah, I like it. I think it looks cool.
Yeah, I see maybe like a marble swirl, like the ice cream, like a marble swirl. I see like I can see the green and the white kind of fusing. It's not like they're separated. It's more like a fusion of the both, but they're not completely blended as it's one solid color. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like I see like a wave. I know it's difficult to tell on camera because it's always bright on camera and stuff.
On camera, to me, it looks like what we were saying earlier. It throws back to that early Luke on the Falcon with the training remote.
Yeah.
Where his had that little twinge of blue. Little twinge of blue.
Minute,
You have a little twinge of blue and a lot of white. Not even. I wouldn't even say cyan. On that Falcon scene when he's playing with the remote and he's got the blaster shield down.
Yeah, when he's practicing.
It was almost white with just a twinge of blue. I'm seeing the same thing here, but I'm seeing the green instead of the blue.
Cool. Yeah, because like if anyone's ever played the Knights of the Old Republic video game, the Knights of the Old Republic 2 video game, they had a Viridian color in there, so that was kind of one of the inspirations for making the Viridian lightsaber.
Close a bit. I mean, I know it's going to be a little bit bright, but yeah, it might be a little hard. I'm trying to move it, and sometimes when you move it, you can tell it's bright, super bright. So I know it's going to be hard to appreciate on camera. So I apologize if this is kind of pointless, but I'm hoping you can maybe get a glimpse of it.
It's kind of visible from what I'm looking at on the screen.
I do see like a swirl marble type mixture.
Depends how you hold it.
It depends how you hold it, what angle you're looking from. It does look awesome. I mean, yet another wonderful surprise by SpaceWindu here.
And then maybe, even like from where me and Harris are sitting, I think like you take a couple more steps back, it's almost like it gets better.
Yeah.
Like if you looked a little close, like I see the marbly thing, and then it starts to get better as I step back or whatever.
I also think that
Super
the lighting on all of these sabers, whether it's the like the Tri-Cree, where it's just the 2 or 3 LEDs, or where you have 400 here, I think it tricks your eyes almost. I think, our eyes are a focus. They focus. They're lenses, basically. When you go outside and you look at the sun, your pupils dilate.
I think I know what you're getting, yeah.
Yeah, and when you're inside in a darker room, your eyes dilate to a smaller. I think that these lights, they do play tricks on our eyes.
And
they
I
make
also
your
think
eyes do different things.
when it does burst on, like you said, for a second, maybe our eyes are
takes a second
adjusting,
to focus in.
But then we're kind of looking, and so we are studying this, and then the imperfections come about. But like you said, if you're almost not ready or it takes you by surprise, then it's like whoa, and then your eyes focus in. It's like oh, I could see there's this or that. Definitely, so much to talk about, with the different lighting effects and what can happen on camera.
Even the lighting in the room has an effect on the color of the blade itself.
Yeah.
You're in a room, it's nighttime, we have some lights on here. You take it outside in 2 o'clock in the afternoon in bright sun, it's going to look one way. You take it outside at 4:30 in the afternoon as the sun starts to set, it's going to look totally different.
Yeah.
So all these things affect,
Yeah.
Definitely. Let me just take this out, and I'm just going to show you guys, or I'll let you guys hold the 2 so you can see if there's, tell me if, I think I could tell that this one's heavier than
the blade itself.
Something like this is the green with 400. This has about 200.
Oh yeah.
So you can feel that, right?
Balance automatically. You can. It's very, faint the difference, but yeah, there is.
Since they're both kind of light, you can tell that that's heavier.
Yeah, this is more solid. Definitely more solid.
One other difference was that in the in the one where as I thought it was impossible up until very recently to do that many LEDs in there was because I'm trying to insert it into the closed cell foam tube, and what I did to sort of mitigate that, because I knew that it wouldn't fit, I found out in that 12mm one that you're playing with last time that I had to do a foam wrap. So after that I was like, oh, I think I could do the 3 string now if I use a foam wrap. It doesn't have to be so
Let me ask you a
small.
question. Most of your blades are all the trans white. Have you ever played with the clear blades with different diffusion material?
Like the first 28 or so were all
they were clear.
Clear. So if you can see behind you, all those are
okay.
They're clear, but they do have that TCSS diffusion tube, which makes it appear white. But
yeah.
the cool thing
have you
about
played
doing
with any
it that
other
way,
type of a diffusion tubes? Anything, something different?
I keep trying new things.
Yeah.
I'm even going to try one thing where I'm going to wrap it in cloth and try that, which I think might be good.
How long do you make your blades?
All different. I have one. The shortest one is a Shoto at 24. I have my first like what I consider the first full size blade is like 27.5. And
yeah,
then
I
they
don't
go
use
up to like 36 from anything in between.
I personally, most of my blades are about 28 or 29 inches.
Oh, okay.
I
so
don't
you're
go
on the sort of shorter side of it.
You know, they say well, you're much taller than I am. Okay, I'm a shorty. I'm about 5'5". So, you know, for me, a shorter blade works.
That definitely works.
If I go with a taller blade, it's difficult for me. And I've heard that. I heard, you know, the taller you are, the more you want to go with the longer blade.
That's true, because you do want to, when you're pointing your sword down, you don't want to be dragging the tip. Mm-hmm. So that's the idea with the blade length. So a lot of mine is like my preferred length for the blade is about 35. And then when it sits in the hilt, right, it's like maybe 33.5 because it's part of the way in the hilt.
Yeah, you usually takes up about 2 inches in most of the hilts.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
As far as like the length that I like to play around.
Very nice. I like the white. It's like a mint white Viridian white.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy,
yeah,
right?
Very cool. Very cool.
So I think that was mostly what I wanted to show you guys. You know, I do want to make a video at some point where we have a multi-part thing where we're actually making the string blade, but I think, you know, sort of baby steps here where I'm showing you guys the LEDs. Gabe held them up, you held them up. This is what the string looks like.
Let me show that up close.
Yeah, if you want to show that.
Yeah, hold it up close so people can see the detail of what it takes to put one of these together.
This is encased in a heat shrink tube, so that's how Gabe's able to hold it. There's six mini sections in there made up of 12 microsections. So no, I'm sorry, that one actually has more. That one has 4 sections each times 6. So there's 24 mini sections in there with 6 basic sections that are going to light up individually. Now, I don't know if Irv from Plector Labs is going to change the way the CFLS works, where he might add sections. He might say, okay, the CFLS version 7.5 has 8 sections. So basically, all my blades will still work, but we'll have the ability to go forward and make. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't know what. No, not a longer blade, but you just will have a lot of people in the videos when I have the slow fonts that react slowly.
Oh,
you can set it to whatever you want, and they say, "Oh, that looks ugly. It's going so slow."
You see the segments lighting up.
You see the segments. Now I do that for the videos because I want people to recognize that these are segmented string blades. I don't want to be like bling on, bling off.
You adjust that. You can adjust that.
It, yeah, so
when you get your own, you can adjust it any way you like.
Right. So you could just plug in your rice, or in the future maybe it's a phone, or if you're using an older card, you just go into the SD card.
Sure.
And
it's just another adjustment on the boards that you can do. Sure.
So if you made it where it was 12 sections, be worse to wire. I don't know how many people would actually wire that many more sections. I know there's some people using the Arduino cards that are wiring extra sections into their blade, but every section you add is going to add a wire, and so the some of the best wire I found recently, I got off Amazon, and it's Adafruit 30 gauge wire.
That's pretty small.
It's really awesome and very formable. You can maneuver it around. There's now that's really expensive. It's about $8 to $20 per Saber blade to wire the Saber blade with the Adafruit.
That's how much wire's in there.
But I've only used that on this blue so far. It's really working great. I really like it because a string blade has to flex, and the Adafruit wire is very, very flexible, and I think it's going to make one of the best string blades. So if you're making your own string blade, try to get the Adafruit wire in white. It's out of stock right now on Amazon. But you know, it's about $8 to $20 for like 2 meters, which would be good for like 1.5 Saber blades. And when that comes back in stock, you should definitely get that. You know, you could use other 30 gauge wire. I have like an alternate wire that's working great. It's like really making an improvement over like my first like 27, 28 blades. I used a certain type of wire, and it was good. But now this newer wire is working even better, and that Adafruit wire is like going from some of my most special blades. I'm gonna be using that from now on because it just seems like it's easier to work with, and it also seems way more flexible. That if you know, you're smacking the Saber around, it's gonna maybe hold up better. I mean, I've never had anything fail,
right?
But who knows? Any improvement you can make. Like when I started,
absolutely,
you know,
it gets better and better.
Adding more wraps, yeah. Like now I have even more heat shrink around the blade, the string blade itself, which I think is making things stronger. So just like little improvements along the way. When I finally make the video where we show the steps of that, we'll have the best method possible at that time. But at least for now, people can kind of get you know, okay, these are the LEDs. That's what it looks like in that stage. And you want to take it a little further and actually start making your own. Just go to the Plector Labs website, download the manual or open up the manual, and that's where all the info's in it. You know, I didn't
tells you all of it.
Yeah, I'm not like, you know, sucking anything out from another dimension. This is just available
it's there.
online.
It's in black and white.
Go look at it and
Plector Labs.
Start it up
in the top hand corner. Under the top hand corner, you drop down. I think it says manuals and support.
Okay, yeah.
And you just click manuals and support, and it opens up a whole drop-down list. And there's actually a link to every manual that Irv has ever created is still on his site, even for the early petit croutons and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's all on there.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And I even, you know, there's PDF versions, and I'll download it because I'm always afraid, you know, if I want to work on Sabers and the internet goes out or something, I have
I did that.
Yeah,
the first few. I think that my Petit Crouton 2.0, I actually printed out a hard copy of the manual, and that thing's in like 1 million pieces today. I still have it. It's been stapled together 100 times just from referring to it. But yeah, I usually use my my iPad to get stuff.
I know we're running out of time, so I'm gonna show something on camera, and I'll let Harris talk about it. He's the creator of this little doodad thing. I think this is hot. This is awesome. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna show you. If I'm wondering what my battery power is after some use, just pop this little doodad in. There you go. Boom.
That is a
instant.
Wants us all.
Instant
he doesn't want
PLI.
you at all. He's after somebody called Skywalker.
It's a PLI kill key. Just throughout the day, boom, I can check.
Now, that's probably one of the most expensive kill keys that you're going to make.
Yeah,
it's probably like a $30-something kill key because you have to buy a PLI.
The PLI was, I think they're about $15.
Oh, I thought they were like $30 for PLI.
No, I don't think they're 30. I think they're about 15. Don't quote me on it. But one of the I was putting this PLI into a Saber, and one of the LEDs went dead. So I was a little frustrated, and I'm like, oh, you know, what can I do with it, you know? So I was bored one night, and I'm like, you know what? I said, we use these Switchcraft 2.0 jacks on all of our Sabers, but when we make our kill keys are made out of like a plastic or a polymer because you don't want metal inside the kill key. But I thought, you know, they do make 2.1 millimeter jacks, which this is the male, and then that would be the female for things to plug in and out of, you know, for science projects or whatever. So when you use a PLI from Plector Labs, it's 2 wires. There's a positive and a negative. And when you wire up a kill key inside here, there's the positive and a negative. So as long as you put the positive to the right wire and the negative to the right wire, and you plug it in, and this is on a 3.7, it even works. It's a little dimmer. Okay. But it works. It works on a 3.7.
Yeah, and so, you know, this, you know, just
on camera again.
And just to kind of be clear about it, that wouldn't be a good kill key. Okay, people?
No. You don't want to use that as a kill key.
It's just to check.
It's a novelty and a battery check. If you're, you know, it's a neat piece that's small enough that you can throw in your pocket.
Yeah, say you're walking at a convention.
You're walking around at a convention, and you're doing a demo coming up, and you and your buds are going to do a little, you know, you're in costume, and you get up there and oh no, I forgot to charge my saber, and your saber dies. This will let you know. Charge your saber up ahead of time.
Also, what you could do is like, let's say this version 2.0 is a little switch, a micro switch.
Turn it off and on.
So yeah, like you have this in your saber all the time. It will work as a kill key, and then you flip the switch, and now you have the power flow, and then you check the power, and then you can.
It's not an official kill key for a saber. It's not designed to be stuck into a saber. Obviously, if you stick it in there, you're drawing battery power. What it's doing is it's taking the battery from the board and connecting the battery power to the PLI. So instead of like your battery's here, here's your battery, and here's your board. Okay, the power's going to the board. What it does is it takes that battery power and puts it up here. It interrupts it and puts it up here into the PLI and allows you to check it. What it would basically do if you left it in your saber as a kill key, it would just drain your battery. Yeah. You know, but
it's good though for people like they kind of like the PLI concept, but don't want it installed in their board.
That's true. That's true.
Very smart. Just like you said, throw it in your pocket if you're walking around throughout the day, whether you take your saber to work, school, wherever the heck you're going, or a convention, you're walking and you're turning it on for pictures back and forth.
You want to make sure your saber's
charged? You just want to check out your power level. There you go.
Something neat I was playing with.
I think it's
that's
awesome.
for you. You can keep that one.
Thank you. It's awesome.
It's broken, but it's my prototype. You know? So yeah, that's for you. You can keep that one. But it's fun stuff. You know.
Patent pending. Patent pending.
Patent pending. Yeah. There you go.
Full power.
Full power. That's awesome.
Yeah, I charged before you guys arrived.
There you go.
You know, since I have different battery levels.
And you have a PLI on there.
Well, I have a bar graph. I don't think it's set up as a PLI.
Oh, it's not set up as a PLI.
Maybe I have to change some settings to make it set up as a PLI. Right now, it just, there's a different like light for whatever font it is, and then it also reacts when I do the blade graph. It does that stuff.
That's cool. That's actually a multicolor PLI. I would like to maybe use one of them next time I do it.
What was cool about this, and I have a couple more in the works, is that I got this from Darth Vix on the FX Saber forum, and what you could do is actually tell him what colors you want. So I told him,
program it.
Red, orange, purple, whatever, and he built this specific for me, and he built for the sister saber to this, he built me one with 8 segments.
Oh, very nice.
So it's pretty cool. This one has 7 segments.
Yeah, that guy's going to be real happy with that. I've seen that saber.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be nice.
Quiflex 2. So hopefully in a week or so I'll have that done. I'll make a video on that. It's basically a saber that looks like this. It's for Bane, and I showed him pictures of it tonight. He seems pretty happy with it. It's coming out cool, and it's a little shorter than this, like 0.25 inch shorter, which I think is giving it like the beefy look that I always wanted on this one. So
you'll be very happy with it.
And all right, I think our show is pretty much over tonight. I hope you liked it.
If we check out of here in about 15 minutes, we could probably go catch a late showing of Star Wars.
Oh yeah, it'll be the 5th time for me, it'll be the 4th time for you, it'll be the 3rd time.
Yeah. So
I wonder how much more I'd see.
My son might sleep through it. I don't know if he'll make it, but
yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with us, guys.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Want to do some plugs? Throw some plugs out there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, guys.
I don't know if I have anything. I would say go to
Irv. Thank you for Crystal Focus 8. We love you.
Yeah, that's
keep them
awesome
coming because that's awesome.
I would like to request the Crystal Focus LS to be back in stock someday. Hopefully end of January.
I don't have an LS. I don't have a light string yet, and I'm coming right to you, man. Yeah, we're gonna build it together.
I think we're gonna make one for Devin. We're gonna make one for Gabe at some point. We're gonna.
Devin's jaw dropped when he saw you light that up tonight.
I think you like the string blades.
And I'm loving that 12mm one you posted on YouTube.
That was the one you had played with last time. But that was kind of the prototype. I'm gonna make another one with less, with different wires, like my new wires.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna have those shadows towards the bottom. And I'm gonna try sliding it into, because what happened when I was building that one was I slid it into the red TCSS tube. It looked crazy. So like it looked like a bright red saber, like an amazingly bright saber. But I ended up putting in the photon because we're still experimenting with photon. But I might slide the next one into the red. It was crazy.
Awesome.
Or slide it into it actually looked kind of cool in the Bluetooth too. I was trying different things, but we'll get to those strings. There'll be more strings coming out. I'll, you know, have more experiments coming up. We'll do episode 8 soon. It'll be 2016 when we get back to do episode 8.
We've gotten a lot of good positive feedback. Send us info. Anthony, your information if anybody wants to get a hold of you.
Yeah, I mean, you can hit me up at my email. I'll put in the description of this video. I would say go to FX Saber forum if you're interested in lightsabers like we have here, like from all the way down to the ones you're going to build yourself out of sync tube. There's information on FX Sabers. Go to the custom saber shop. There's information there on how to build your own lightsaber with their parts. The MHS builder, you can see how your hilt will look. If you go to the MHS builder on custom saber shop, you can attach different emitters, attach different pommels, and build yourself a basic saber. Now I like to take it up to the next level and go for the MHS sleeve material, which has been out of stock for a little while. It should come back, and that's how we make all the shrouds and the special parts. If you're, you know, at the intermediate level and you want to jump up to making a shroud for your saber, you're going to need that. You're going to need a piece of pipe, and you add it on. Any number of things you could do. You get Ultra Saber's hilt and get some sound for it. Like we mentioned, the Pico Crumble is going to come out. It's going to be inexpensive. Grab a board out of an old toy, or just don't go with sound. You know, there's just so many different options. I hope if you're watching this and you want to start building your own lightsaber, that you're you know, not intimidated, and you just kind of
ask
start.
us questions.
Yeah, you can hit us up on the comments here. I'll probably have to be the one to answer, but you can call out any of us. I'll probably try to put some info to these guys in the description. And yeah, have fun with your lightsabers. We're having a great time with ours. And
I want to give one last plug. Victor Antonios, I'm on here. I'm looking for the name. I know he's got an Etsy, ETSY.
Oh, okay.
He's got an Etsy shop. I'm looking for it real fast.
You don't necessarily have to. I mean, if you find it, shout
post
it out.
in the
But
links.
I'm gonna put that in there because I'm gonna order one of those myself.
Yeah,
I like
it's good
that
stuff.
idea.
Good stuff. And he actually makes them. He'll make it any size you want. He'll make it wider, so you let him know what size belt. That's about an inch, and that's actually my belt. I use a belt from the firehouse. So
because I want it to be able to fit my regular belt plus my like Jedi belt. So I'll have to.
Also, shout out to Tim. Thank you for my brass bunny ears. I love them. They look amazing on the saber. And something Anthony showed me tonight. If you actually pling it, it actually makes a sharp little noise like a pitchfork. I love it.
Let's try it out. I don't know if people are going to hear this.
I don't know if you'll hear it. I don't think you'll hear it. Can you hear it? Did you hear it?
I think they can do that.
I can't get it to do it.
There's a different pitch to the brass. So if you have bunny ears, you can flick them. Get a nice tone going.
Oh, I did it. Wait. Let me see if I can. Right up to the camera. Actually, up to the mic. We got a microphone down here. See if I can do it.
There it is.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, you got it.
So you could use your bunny ears to play music. There's lots of different things you can do with your
Neat
lightsaber.
stuff. Neat stuff. Neat stuff.
And,
all right, guys.
Join us next time. We'll be back for Saber Talk episode 8. This has been episode 7. We're all Jedi here tonight.
Oh, look at that! Flash on top. Flash on top.
Yeah, we got white in this one.
Luke, I am your father.
That's so cool.
Love, love, love. I did it. Listen, hang on.
Oh, you
Pitch.
have
Pitch
pitch
control.
shift.
Pitch shift.
I think I have that on mine too. Love that.
Love it. Just shows what you can do with these sabers. It's just amazing. Amazing, amazing stuff. Good episode, guys.
Yeah, thanks for doing that show. It was awesome.
Good episode, Luke. Give me 5, buddy. Oh, come on. What? I don't have a treat in my hand? Give me 5.
He is furious that we have been ignoring
Are you mad?
He walked in here with a tennis ball. He's like, you motherfuckers are gonna play with me. 2 hours.
All right, let's go fix Gaming's POGO.